everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Talk of the Town podcast, where each week you tune in because we bring you valuable insight and information that directly affects our local business community. I'm Danielle Hawley, and I'm proud to say that I'm the executive director of the best chamber of commerce around, the Fontana Chamber of Commerce. And I'm so excited this week to bring you our Talk of the Town podcast with my awesome co host, Mr. Carlos Garcia of FYI Technologies. Carlos, welcome to the show. How's it
Thanks,
going?
Danielle. It's going great. All right.
Yeah, well, this week I am so thrilled to have Miss Tiffany De La O, a new owner of La Tapatia Mexican Grill, with us. New owner, but not new to the business, but we'll dig into all of that on the show. Tiffany, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, God, Danielle and Carlos, for having me. This is very exciting.
We are thrilled, girl. I said we are just going to tell the whole world because you guys know how much I love La Tapatia. I feel like my husband and I try to go every chance we can get, but we'll talk about that too. Your amazing food. But let's talk about you first. Tell us about yourself personally, just your journey that brought you through Fontana to being a business owner, where you went to school, all that good stuff.
Yes, so it all started in the early 90s when the De La O family moved to Fontana. We were a family of four, my parents, my sister, and myself, and grew up in Fontana. We went to school here, and then, the family grew. We had other siblings, and so we've stayed through and through. It's been such a journey to see the city grow to what it was back then and what it is now. And we decided to open up a restaurant 10 years ago. My father said, this is, what we want to do. He was in the industry for many, many years. And so at that point, I was just out of high school, college, and, we kind of all jumped in. But prior to that, I went to school in Fontana, sports and extracurriculars. And my first job was in Fontana, the Target Up Summit. And so it makes sense that, we're here and we're, contributing to the city and the community. I love it.
That's awesome.
That's
So,
fantastic. So let's talk about Juan. Now, Juan is on the board of directors, and Juan is your dad, and he serves on the board of directors. And so he, has brought you along to some of our retreats and things like that. But every time we go into the restaurants, I know that we have seen your family there. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So I am the oldest of four of us. There's my sister, Natalie, my brother, John, and my youngest sister, Lourdes, who are all involved in the businesses. To that, my brother-in-law has also joined in. My cousin runs the Upland location, Adrian. And so it really is a family effort, a family affair. It's so wonderful, that we are all involved. It has its moments because, working with the family is tricky when we're, butting heads because it's inevitable. But my parents just raised us to be so close and so loving with one another that it just works. I mean, not only are they my coworkers, but they're also like my best friends. So it's really beautiful to see the way that we make it work. And I think our employees see that. And it kind of translates to the guests. So they come in and they've said so many times, like, we love the environment. We love the atmosphere. The energy is just, it's a great place to be at. And I feel that it's because of the core that what we bring to it, the family of it.
I love that.
that's awesome. And I mentioned you were talking a little earlier too, when we first found out you were coming to Upland, and then when you guys started slowly building into that, we couldn't wait. So once we tried it, it's like, okay, there's no going back, man. La Tapatia is a place to be, and was frescas and all that. It's just been like remarkable. So
Yes.
share with the audience a little bit about the history of La Tapatia.
So we started 10 years ago in Fontana. Arrow and Tamarind is the first location. We opened there March of 2014. small little, I think the capacity is like 25 inside. And it was really great to get started and rooted there. A few years later, it was July of 2017 when we were strong enough to say, okay, let's expand. And so we opened up the second shop off of Baseline and Cherry, and that guy overnight was just took off. And I think it really helped that the community had accepted us, down by Arrow. We expanded this way, and in 2020 we opened up in Upland. We said, okay, we like Fontana. Let's try to expand outside of the city. And so that was really interesting because we opened up in a difficult time, but we figured we got to weather this storm. And Upland has been now 4 years, and not only did we weather that storm, but we were able to maintain, and that store is just doing so much better now. It's really great.
That's awesome. So I say my home store, because it's right by my house, is the one on Arrow. Yes. Also right down the street from the Chamber. And that one used to be, we were just talking about this the other day, the Golden Ox.
Yes. So I understand it was like a burger spot back in the 80s was the original restaurant that began. And funny, because I was kind of cleaning up the other day and moving the booths around, and I pulled booth and it says the Golden Ox, and I just think it's amazing that the original booths are still there. And so I've said, okay, if we do a little bit of remodeling, these have to stay, at least a couple of them, because it just gives just such life and character to the aesthetic. It's really cute.
Oh yeah, it's personality, it's history. I remember going past there as a kid. I do remember it vaguely. Now, I was made in the 80s, grew up here in the 80s. I was very young. I'm totally dating myself, but I do remember that. And it sat vacant actually for quite a while, I remember, before you guys took it over. And so it has brought just such life to that community. And there's regulars, because when we're in there, I see a lot of the same people that come in, and it's just their spot. I think one guy comes there every day, literally for dinner consistently.
I know who you're talking about. I love that. Yes.
So it's great. But I love, and I think, just why we clicked with just Juan and your family so much is we're big on family. We're the Chamber family, but you guys are big on family as well. And it translates, because when you go into the restaurant, from the workers to, if we get to see you or any of your family members, it feels very welcoming, and warm and friendly. And on top of that, the food is amazing, you guys. It's so good. And I want to talk a little bit about, we're going to tie in this dessert menu obsession that I have. My husband loves the flan. I love the fried ice cream. But I think you had a big piece in that, and that ties in with your past, right? With your culinary past.
Yes. So I went to culinary school, and when coming in, originally the plan was to get into pastries. And so that is all and wonderful. I still enjoy it, but I very soon realized that pastries and such require a lot of chemistry because of, the mixing and the leavening and whatnot. And so I'm not great at chemistry, I have to admit. And so once I realized that, I remember being in school and we were making brownies, and my classmate said, what would be really great is if these brownies were extra rich and we throw in sugar, more sugar than what the recipe says. And I said, that's a great idea. 30 minutes later, the chef instructor is like, who is at oven 4? And we look at each other and we said, that's our oven. What's going on? So she walks us over, opens the oven, and this stuff is just like spewing out of the oven. And she's like, you need to understand that, sugar in this plays a large role in how it bakes. And I think soon after that, I thought, I don't know if pastry is the road for me. I'm more like, okay, I need to taste things, and what's this missing, and how does this work? I'm more to the palate of it. And so I kind of veered more into the savory aspect. But
that's funny. I love that. You're like, more sugar. Just put
more sugar. Let's do it. It's going to be, nice and chocolatey and more rich. And no, definitely
right.
Do not do
that. Hey,
it's like a scene out of a movie for sure.
Oh, it was. Right? The best was having to stay after class to clean that oven because we were there for like a good 40 minutes after. It was so much fun.
Yeah, you had caramel baked into everything in
Oh
there.
yes.
Oh man. Well, you brought back though, because we were there last week or whenever it was, and they obviously the flan that you have, my husband says hands down the best flan, and he tries flan everywhere we go, and we'll drive very far to get it. So if you love flan, go to La Tapatia. If you guys have it, because it's very popular and very in demand. But the fried ice cream, let's talk about that for a moment. I think fried ice cream needs its own moment.
Yes. So fried ice cream, we opened with fried ice cream as part of the menu, as part of the original of it. Then 2020 came around, and when they closed dining, we couldn't make, fried ice cream to go because it doesn't really travel that well. And so we kind of had to remove a lot of the dessert items. And so it never came back. When things went back to normal and everything was back up, she just didn't make it back to the menu, the fried ice cream. And so I come back from Upland a few months ago, and I said, let's bring back the fried ice cream. It was such a hit, kind of showed the team how to put it together, how to dress it up. And it's also been kind of difficult to keep up with the request of it. And it's tasty. If you haven't had it, come try it. It's just a mix of like ice cream and a good little cereal crust and the little buñuelos and some caramel. It's just, it's a tasty dish. And I'm so glad that you've had it. I know you had it because we didn't have the flan. And so I was like, oh my gosh, but we tried that. And I think we discovered something else that you like, which is cool.
Yes.
I'm going today. I gotta go try it. You
No,
guys are talking too much about it. I'm going today.
I'm drooling right now, even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So enough about the food. I think it's lunchtime and we're all hungry.
Yep.
Thank you for the fried ice cream. God bless you. I appreciate that. Go try it if you haven't. So let's talk about this new endeavor of yours, because there are 3 locations, but Miss Tiffany has decided to branch out on her own under the La Tapatia umbrella. So let's talk about this awesome transition that I'm so excited about.
Yes. So we last year decided that it was time to sell Arrow, and so we came to the conclusion that that's what it was. We're trying to expand in other areas, and we said, we don't want to get too big to where we can't maintain good quality, the good standards that we have. And I think that this is the right move. Somehow in there, and I think it's just, sometimes God just talks to you and you have to just listen and wait for the signs. And so I thought, I think it's time for me to have my own restaurant. I'd always wanted to branch out into something of my own. There was a couple years ago that I wanted to buy a yogurt shop, and I just it was something that I've always wanted to do. It's like a bucket list item. And so that was the plan, but somehow we just said, okay, Arrow, I think, needs to stay in the family. And if that means that I take over and make it my own, but nothing's changing, no name changing, no recipe changes, everything is exactly the same, but I acquire it and we run it that way. Mom and Dad agreed. It took a little bit of convincing, but they agreed. And so now I'm taking over Arrow, and it's been a couple months that we've been in the works of it. And yeah, I think it's exciting because I have just so much love for that location. It was the beginning of great things, and she's staying. She's not going anywhere.
I love it. And I'm so thrilled because I was heartbroken. I'm like, no, that's our La Tapatia. And I want to talk a little bit about some other plans too, because that was my immediate question to your dad was, okay, you're down 1 location now. So what are you going to do? You had 3. Now Tiff's taken over the other one. So are we allowed to talk publicly about what the future plans are for another location?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's one of those things that you need to speak into existence. So let's talk about it. The original plan, or my plan, and I would say was, I always wanted 5, and I don't know why 5 was just the number that I felt was comfortable for us. And so I said 5 and 10 years, but the first 3 and 5 years. And we actually stayed to that. But then once Upland opened and we went through that tricky time, it set us back just a little bit. But now that things are kind of back to normal, I've said, okay, we'd had an original plan, let's stick to it. And so I think that Fontana has just grown so much, and the community really has accepted us, and they seem to like us. And so, definitely location 4, would love to make it happen. We've talked about, the North Fontana, we've talked about downtown. I think that's still kind of in the works of it, but we also realize that it might be time to kind of reinvent a little bit, La Tapatia with like a twist. And I know that Juan is putting that together with, the rest of the family, and we're in the brainstorm of it. But yes, the expansion is coming. So pray on that, and let's make it happen.
I love that we are speaking it in and believing in faith, that you guys will continue to see blessings and success and continue to be a part of our community here in Fontana, because Fontana loves you. And whether that means even some other locations outside, but we're excited about that. And I know, downtown revitalization is happening. There's going to be a lot of great opportunities. So I'm just thrilled that you've kind of taken the lead here amongst, I know even like with the siblings, it's a team effort. But you were kind of sharing, on Wednesday with our board. It's just great to see you trusting your gut and going with your passion and what you feel like the vision is, and you're making it happen. And I love seeing anybody make it happen, especially women, making it happen and being bold and passionate, and just taking the risk, right? Everything is, can be risky in business, but you're not afraid of it, and you're trusting the process, and very methodical in terms of looking at production and numbers. And I know my husband was there the other day, and he's like, I saw her talking to one of the suppliers, and she was like, like just not afraid in that space to own it and be who you are and do what's best for your business. So it's cool. It's cool. What is it like being a woman business owner in the restaurant industry?
That's a good question. It was tricky in the beginning. I remember the first even year, I would have people come in and they didn't want to talk to me. They wanted to talk to the owner. They wanted to talk to Juan. And I kind of got looked past a bit. And it was once you realize what it is, you're like, no, this is not, I'm not going to let myself, this is not okay. So I was a little bit more upfront and, yes, can I help you? What do you need? You kind of have to fake it till you make it a little bit until people begin to take you seriously. And it's a confidence that you have to kind of just build. And the moment that you do, you see the shift in the way that people treat you. And so it's definitely, under the surface, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. But once you put that out there, people seem to respect it a little bit more. And my dad was so supportive in that also, where he would say, you can talk to Tiffany, you can talk to my daughter. And they want to speak to him. He said, no, it's okay. She can handle it. She can take care of it. So he was great about giving me that support. And so building that foundation for me was really, really awesome.
I love it. Well, he's so proud of you. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Rooting for your continued success.
Thank you. Thank you. They are a wonderful support system. My parents, my mom is just, tremendous, and they're awesome. Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You're talking about the restaurant industry. What are some, briefly, talk to us a little bit about challenges and trends that you're seeing in the restaurant industry right now?
Yeah. So I think for us, what is always going to be tricky is the turnover. We, especially because of the concept that we run, it's like a fast casual. You get a few people that come in and they're with you for years. And it's so wonderful because we provide a really good work environment. Everybody gets along. It's really awesome. You see a lot of smiles, a lot of, as they're working, they're having a good time. And so it's great. But then you get a lot of, youngsters that are out of high school, out of college, or going through college. And they're like, hey, I need a part-time for the next couple of years because I'm going through nursing school. And so we train them, give them the tools and the resources that they need. But then eventually they go on to moving to their passions and their careers. And so we are supportive of that. But once that's time, you got to, rehire, train, and develop. So the turnover of it can be tricky. But if you have a good, training method and a good solid team that can train, and these people are trainable, then it's not so hard. But I have seen that when we're like short staffed, or we're, or everybody's back at school, so you have like scheduling issues. That seems to be a little bit tricky. And there's always, I love that people love what we do, but you're not gonna be able to satisfy every customer. And there's like a little margin of error to where if you don't satisfy the customer 100%, what did we do? What can we do to fix it? And I always approach a customer like that. We fumbled here, we goofed. Okay, how can I fix it? And I love asking that question because not a lot of businesses do so. And so when the guest hears that and they tell you what they want and what they need, it's that much easier to just make somebody happy and everybody go on about their day.
Yeah. Well, and I want to touch on the hiring aspect of it real quick. I think that's just across the board. We hear that from all of our businesses. And I think we saw that especially after COVID, everybody had this extra money and they weren't working. And then I'm thinking, okay, it wasn't that much extra money. Like, where's our workforce?
Exactly.
It's just been a struggle for everybody. But I think part of it too, and maybe I'm wrong, is just people are doing different things that they haven't done, right? It kind of forced everyone into different industries. And I'm going to put a plug in here for the chamber for help for hiring. We have a workforce development director that would love to continue to partner and help find employees. So if you're listening, that's a service that we provide free. It's free. No better price than free. But also coming back to your brand. And that's something that we talk about all the time here about being a part of the chamber family. But it's just that idea of relationships. And I think you nailed it on the head. Not being too proud to say, hey, we messed up. How can we be better? And I think people appreciate that. We live in a day and age where authenticity is more valued now, I think, than ever in our world. And I think that that's a concept that you grasp and being a younger business owner, with growing up in your generation and just really figuring out how to relate to people in this instant gratification world. Everyone has an opinion about everything. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I think that just listening to the guests, everybody's different. Everybody's going to want something a little bit different. Some guests is just to say, I'm sorry, we goofed it. We apologize. It shouldn't happen, and it happened, but we hope that we fix it, and in the future it won't. Some guests are going to say, you know what, remake my order. Absolutely. I'm not going to lose a customer for years on end because I decided not to take care of you this situation in this time. And then other times it's like, hey, you know what, it just didn't work out. Mm-hmm. Let me get my money back. And people are really afraid to hear that. But I've always told a guest, I would rather maintain a friendship and a relationship with you as a customer and not lose it over a burrito, And so that is, and you tell that to the guests. And a lot of times they're surprised at you agreeing to do that. And if this is how this is going to fix the situation, I'm happy to do so. It's just take care of them.
I will tell you that in your industry, you guys are like saints, because I've seen the people that show up sometimes. And let's be honest, a lot of these people, sometimes they complain because they want a freebie or something like that along those lines. But it's also just a level of how they even treat the employees and all that. It's just like, where were you born? You know what I mean? Like the lack of respect is just not there sometimes with folks. So I give it to you guys, the patience you guys have and all that, because I don't think I would last like a day. To be honest.
You would throw the burrito at them, Carlos. Take your burrito.
I'll throw them out with the burrito. Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Oh my goodness. Well, I want to give a quick highlight to La Tapatia, just with the relationship that we've had over these years. You guys are so fantastic. And I know coming into the chamber, having your father come on the board, I mean, I know that we originally probably asked your mom because, I don't want to forget about Luce. She and Juan are a tag team, like, one in the same brains of the operation, making it happen. Fantastic team. And I love seeing them work together, but bringing you into the catering scene, and you guys have been doing our monthly luncheons, and we hosted our State of the City last year and tried something new. We did a VIP mixer ahead of time, and you guys just killed it. It was phenomenal hosting that. But also, that was the kickoff of our Taste of Fontana event. And so you guys got to be a part of that. And so just from the chamber, we just are so appreciative of you and your family, your parents, just everyone being such amazing board members, chamber members, but supporters of our business community. I wanted to say thank you for all of that.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, to the beginning of that, I mean, Juan and Luz, they just have a really good balance. I think if you've ever seen them, like you said, working together, and even in conversations, and just, in my experience with, being raised by them, just seeing that, I just see how it works. And they're so funny. I love just them interacting. Sometimes they're a trip, but in that, and in the caterings, and what we've done with the state of the city, that was really great, because it allowed us to kind of step a little bit out of our comfort zone, because that mixer was something new that we'd done. And to thank you for allowing us to grow and tweak a little bit, and show what we can do with the caterings. It's different from a restaurant, and us kind of branching out to that, we were able to say, okay, I think we can do this. And we've even talked about, how to spin off La Tapatia into a catering, division, and what that would mean, and what menu that would consist of. And so it's really great that you've been the platform that's allowed us to take those chances. So thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. That's what it's about. We're about connecting. So if you're listening and you're looking for catering for your next event, you guys have done, oh my gosh, so many things branched out of that. You've done the Miss Fontana mixer. You've done a cybersecurity summit that another Zeta Sky, one of our members and board members, puts on, and so many other corporate events. We've used you for other organizations that we're a part of for catering. You will not be disappointed. Amazing setup, amazing quality, start to finish. Reach out to La Tapatia. So we're going to wrap it up. But can you let us know how people can connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm always jumping around the locations, but if you come on in and you're asking for one of us, sometimes it's as quick as a phone call. Let me see where they're at. And we're at, one location. We can be to you in like 10 minutes if you're at the physical restaurant. But, we have La Tapatia Mexican Grill at gmail.com. Send us an email, connect with us through there, or, find us in the chamber board and city. And, I think we're kind of becoming more familiar with one another there. There are several ways, but yeah.
And social media, you guys are on social media?
Social media, yes. So we have Instagram, Facebook, and I believe now TikTok was what we're venturing at.
Yep.
I think
new, fresh leadership here, the younger generation. I love it. You got to be creative, and you got to go with what works and reach your audience. But I am so thankful, Tiff, for you, and just you stepping in. Your future is so bright. This is just a start of an amazing, successful just future for you. Thank you so much for being a part of the chamber. Hey, and just a side note, was it your first 5K too? This year?
It was back in May, June, right? Yeah.
So we ran the Fontana Days run together this year. We bonded over our first little 5K and trooped out. She's joking, saying we're going to run the half marathon. I don't know. We should already be training, but for sure the 5K again next year. So if you want to come run with us next year, we'll be out there. But I've just enjoyed obviously love your parents, but just having you come around and just be a part of everything, it's just a huge blessing. Thank you for all that you do for the chamber, and just for being amazing chamber members, but friends and family. I think of you guys as like you're our family, so we love you. We appreciate you. Support La Tapatia, you guys. They're fantastic. Yes, go support it. Go get the fried ice cream. It's Friday.
Get some fun and fried ice cream, yes.
I love it. But once again, thank you so much. Thank you, Carlos. I know we went a little longer today, but it was worth it. Thank you for hanging in there. To all of our listeners, and for checking us out on all of our major streaming platforms. You can also see our bright, smiley faces on YouTube, in addition to listening to us. But don't forget, new episode drops every Tuesday, Talk of the Town. Once again, thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Thank you.